Alright, so welcome to Rage Quit Squad Lead 101 training class. The intent of this class is to provide some basic training for squad leads who are participating in formal operations format. Formal operations format is where we are broken down into squad channels and utilizing Channel Commander to speak with operations leads and the other squad leads. This class is not designed for any other format but our formal operations format where we're broken down into squads. Any other format that we have, this class content does not particularly apply. A lot of the things that we just can't be done when you're all in one channel. It's really hard to do. This class is designed for an hour of instruction and an hour of lab. Lab being a few things we go through over the map and a few things we actually do as a unit together to learn some things that we can do with our squads. Again, you can feel free to ask any questions if they're very pertinent to what we're talking about at the time. However, please refrain from asking any questions you can ask at the end of the class, and I'll keep the time down to maybe the last 15 minutes of class where we do a Q&A session. You'll be provided instruction on approximately 17 different things in the lecture, which I'll run through as quick as possible, and we'll participate in 5 different labs that are also broken down into subsets. The intent of Squad Lead 101 is to provide a foundation for squad leading within our formal operations format. Every character or every person has a different style of leading and a different way of doing things. This is not to influence people's gameplay or particular person's gameplay as a kit. This is just to get us all on the same page in regards to what is expected from a squad lead. We all know what we expect from each other, and the ops lead knows he can expect from his squad leads because you've been through this class and we know the basics. From there, you can advance and grow as you see fit, come up with some other content, teach a different class, whatever you need to do. This class is just designed to cover some basics so that we're all on the same page on a basic level. The first thing we need to start off with in this class, moving right along into the class, the first thing we need to start off with is Channel Commander, keybinds, permissions, how to use Channel Commander, and the protocols that we have for Channel Commander. So what we have to do with everyone is we have to run them through how to set up the Channel Commander button. For those that are participating in this class, I'm going to go ahead and give you the Squad Lead badge right now so that you can actually turn Channel Commander on. And then I'm going to have a couple people help me, have anyone that needs help, set up the Channel Commander buttons, and then we're going to test them all.
I'll be good to help over TeamViewer if anyone really has trouble.
If some of the admins can start setting people with their squad leader badge that are in here
Yep, got it.
as we go, thanks.
Thank you. As soon as I've got the squad lead badge, can someone remove the lead in training group from me?
I got a sandwich chess player.
Whoa, wait, I'm kind of lost. What should I do right now?
You cover yourself.
Okay, stand by. Okay, so we all gave those that didn't have squad leader badges and permissions, which you will right. For now, you need that to be able to get yourself into Channel Commander. So for those that have Channel Commander, I'm going to run through this once, and if people have questions beyond me running through it maybe once or twice, then get a specific person that you see that has a gold little bubble next to their name in TeamSpeak, pull them into a different channel real quick, and have them help you set it up and test it. So here's how you set it up. Get your TeamSpeak open. You go to Tools. You go to Whisper Lists. When you get into Tools Whisper Lists, you have a little tab that pops up, and on the bottom left-hand corner of that first box, there's a New button. And you click that New button, and what you want to do is you're going to assign a key on your keyboard that you're going to use for Channel Commander or Command Comms. This key you want to try to be sure it doesn't conflict with any keys you use in game, of course, or any keys you currently use in any other aspect of TeamSpeak or whatnot. So you're going to try to use a key that you can remember that you don't think you have bound to anything else in game. Once you do that, you're going to press the key, and then that will be your hotkey, and I'll show you how to set it up. I'll give you 10 seconds here to figure out what key you want. Again, you click New and just press the key you want. Okay, and off to the right we have certain settings. Okay, so you have your hotkey, which is there, your reply hotkey, which I don't even know what the hell that does. But anyway,
Nothing.
what we're doing is we're setting the Whisper 2 key to groups. So use the drop down and select groups. The next one is group whisper type. You're going to set that to channel commander. And the next one is group whisper target. You're going to set that to all channels. And then you're going to click apply. I'll go through this one more time. You're going to go to TeamSpeak Tools. You click on Whisper Lists. You click the New button and press a hotkey for whatever hotkey you want to be your channel commander button. Once you have that set, the Whisper 2 field should be groups. The group whisper type should be channel commander. And the group whisper target should be all channels. Now, if any of you need help, it's okay, because usually I have to run through this 5 or 6 times before everyone's all set, and that's fine. If you need help with this, go ahead and speak up now, or actually type in chat. We have a lot of people, so type in chat that you need help, and somebody will grab you and take you to a different room.
I got him.
User was moved out of your channel.
Got it done first time.
Okay. No one's typed that they need help in the channel. Whisper type is groups, correct?
Yep.
User was moved to your
Yep.
channel.
Groups.
User joined your channel.
And Loreberry, group whisper target is all channels, and then you just click apply.
User disconnected from your channel.
Does anybody else need help? Please type in the training channel here that you need some assistance, and don't feel bad, it's okay. Usually we have to run through this a few times before everyone gets it. If everyone's all set, we'll move on. Okay, so to put yourself in Channel Commander, please don't use your hotkey yet, by the way. I have to make an announcement. But to put yourself in Channel Commander, you just right-click your name, and there's a Channel Commander option. And the bubble next to your TeamSpeak name should light up in gold.
Hey, working.
There you go. Okay, stand by. I'm actually going to talk in command and let them know that we're going to do some testing. This is training room. We're going to do testing of Channel Commander for the next maybe 5 minutes. Please disregard all the training messages that we have, and we'll all be out of it shortly. Okay, so now we want to test it to make sure everyone's works. So what you want to do is all of you want to go to some different room and speak on Channel Commander and make sure that you're listened to and heard.
Command, Sir Guy.
User left your channel. User
Hello?
left your channel.
Okay, can you guys
Man,
hear me?
Joseph Ford.
I hear Joseph 4.
Command chat test.
I hear Ninja.
Thank you, bud.
Command Night Excessive.
I hear Night Excessive.
Command, stand by. Stand by, everyone. Just say your name in a different room and make sure you can hear us, and we'll tell you to come back to the room.
Can I hear you, Mamba?
Wolfen stands by.
Skyfall stands by.
Can I hear you, Skyfall?
Mamba, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you. Whoever just said Mamba, can you hear me?
Command,
Yep.
this is Crosby.
Please.
Hi, Crosby.
Heard you, Crosby.
Sarcastics.
Heard you, Sarcastic.
Copy Sarcastics.
Fidelis.
Heard you.
User
Fidelis,
joined your
go.
channel.
Loreberry, quit whispering to me.
Chess
Wolfen.
player, Colonel, all set? Wolfen, heard you.
Okay, dude.
Command to Mamba.
User left your
Anyone
channel.
This
hear
is Chess. You hear
I
me?
copy
Yeah,
VM Colonel.
copy chess.
Copy, Chess.
Copy Bambron. Okay, Bambron.
Command to Loreberry, you all set? Command to Mamba, we heard you. We saw your
Yeah.
flash red. Oh yeah, you're good. We can hear you.
User left your channel.
Chess player, we saw you flash. But we don't hear. Chess player, we saw you flash, but we didn't hear you.
My bad. I talked earlier. I was just pressing the button on accident.
Okay, come on back up the channel. Commander Dean Winchester.
User in your channel is recording.
So, I probably have something set up wrong here.
Command to Skyfall.
Skyfall copies.
Okay, you can come on back up. Are we missing anyone else, Command?
To your channel.
I don't see anyone.
Okay, so Lordberry, you're the only one we're question about. Do you want to go to another room and
I'll grab
try
him.
again?
Yeah, I think I just had this wrong whisper type set up. You said it was channel group,
No.
or okay, that's probably why.
I think it's
Whisper type
subgroup. We
is
just
channel commanders.
yeah, channel commander.
Okay,
All right, X-Ray.
I thought I heard someone say channel group. I'll go test
Okay.
this in a sec.
Can somebody go with Lordberry and
User
take
left your
X-Ray?
channel.
X-Ray
User
got
joined your
disconnected.
channel.
You
I'll
can
do
also
it.
take
I got
Big
it.
Shop that just showed up.
Yep, got him.
User
Thank
left
you.
your channel. User was moved out of your channel.
Go eat real quick. As long as I have this on recording.
Yeah, testing now.
User left
No.
your
Joseph,
channel.
I'll cover the content with you.
You're
that you
good,
missed.
Lordberry.
Go ahead and do what you have to do.
Okay.
Just step out to a different room below
User
so I
joined your
remember.
channel.
Oh, I have it recording.
Oh, okay, yeah, just stay here then. That's fine.
Okay, I think I'm set up now. I hope.
Is there anybody else that needs assistance with Channel Commander, or are we all set? If you're all set, go ahead and right-click your name and get out of Channel Commander. We don't need any more for this class.
Digitals?
Wolfen, I heard you on Channel Commander. What's up? I'm not in Channel Commander anymore, Wolfen.
Oh yeah, digitals. X-ray can't speak. So what do you do to people who can't have a mic? We just roll with that.
Well, we need our squad leads to have mics, unfortunately. So just take his squad lead badge away and ask him to get a mic, and he's welcome to become a squad lead when he gets a mic.
Okay.
Tell him he's welcome to attend the class, though. He's welcome to sit and listen to the class. Hey, X-Ray, you're welcome to sit and listen to the class, but our squad leads have to have mics. It's crucial. But please attend the class and listen. We just can't have you be certified for a squad lead if you can't talk.
Just a quick question. Can my friend jump on in the training class? Is he too late? I can run him through the whole channel commander. Okay, yeah, Oddmaster. Is he able to jump in now, or is it too late? Psst.
You just want somebody to be an observer? That's fine. I have no problem with that.
No, Oddmaster wants to take the class.
Yeah, sorry, I'm doing that.
Okay. Now, is it a Rage Quit member?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, then just go ahead and, if you don't mind, catch him up. Take him to a different room
Okay.
and catch him up. All right?
Okay, I will.
Thanks. Just bring him back up.
Hey Ninja, just come in, go.
I will do.
Okay.
Can he get the squad lead badge if he's gonna
yeah.
do that?
Is it Oddmast?
Oddmaster, the last guy.
Thank you.
Okay, so Caduceus, I'm not worried about you. Slim, I know you're an officer, so you be in command. Joseph is gone now, but Wolfen, can you take your channel commander off, please? Thank you. All right, we'll give it a couple minutes. Everyone can go get a drink real quick. Let those other guys catch up. We're going to just continue ripping through the class. We'll do the whole lecture section, and hopefully it won't be too long before they get back. I'm just going to get a glass of water, and I'll be right back. We'll
All right.
continue on.
Whoever coordinates this video, please give it to me on the website.
Who's me?
Samana212.
Certainly.
Complete post where you'll find my name somewhere on the website.
Your name's everywhere on the website.
I do most of the work on the website.
I think most of the work is underestimated. I think nearly all of the work is quite descriptive.
Looking at the logs, yes.
Yes, and that, and you have the most posts in the whole site.
Dude, I've got over 500 now.
I know. I saw your post.
And it drops fast too. If you go to the member section and sort by post, it drops really fast.
Okay, Oddmaster is caught up.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Let's continue. With that whole section out of the way, let's discuss what Channel Commander actually is. Channel Commander, or what we call command, is a requirement for anyone leading operations or a squad, no matter what format, even if you're in Derp Ops, or 12 guys formed a squad where they're just going and doing their own thing. All squads are required to have their squad lead and channel commander. We might need them during ops or something like that or whatever, but that's the requirement that we have. So whenever you are a squad lead or an ops lead, you have to have your channel commander on. You don't necessarily have to use it, but you have to have it on. That's an expectation that we have of anybody with the squad lead tagging up. Being on channel commander has a couple of responsibilities. So let's explain what channel commander is for. It's for tactical communications. It's for orders. It's for status updates, inter-squad communications, and command communications. Alright? What it's not for is anything that I did not just say. It's not to argue about map strategy. It's not to hold a meeting. It's not to fuck around. It's not to disrespect anyone. And it's not to be abused in any fashion whatsoever. It's strictly for tactical communications, orders, status updates, inter-squad comms, and command communications, period. No exceptions. Not even for War Halo, not for any of us counselors, officers, or anything. That's what it's for, period. As a squad lead during formal operations format, do not use in-game comms. Unless you have a puppy squad, which you guys do, I don't. Formal operations actually does not call for puppies. It's just rage quit. So, again, this class is focused on that format. So, do not use in-game comms. Everybody is supposed to use TeamSpeak in this format that we have set up in Channel Commander and your squad communications in TeamSpeak when you're running during formal operations. Outside of formal operations, do what you want. We adhere to TeamSpeak for all communications in formal ops. Let's see here. I've already gone through the instruction piece. Okay, moving on. What's next? Okay. Uses of command. Anytime you need to speak in command, you start with saying the word command, or formally addressing the squad you wish to address. This helps everyone differentiate if someone is speaking in local, or your own squad or platoon, versus someone speaking in command. Because if you just talk without saying command or squad so-and-so, people aren't going to know if they're hearing that locally or in command. So that's how we differentiate it. We say command when we speak on command. When attempting to communicate with another squad or operations lead, you should first state who you are addressing and then wait for channel to open. So I'll give you an example. If I'm the leader of Platoon 3, Charlie Squad, my call sign would be Charlie 3. If I want to talk to Operations Lead, I would say, Command, Charlie 3. And then I would wait. And I would wait for Command to say, Go Charlie 3. That ensures that Command knows who is talking, as well as ensures Command is ready to actually receive my speech. You guys got to remember that Commander and Squad Leads are constantly chatting. They're hearing a lot of things in different channels and all that stuff. So you actually have to open that channel of communications. This is a military protocol derived from the military. This is how we talk on Channel Commander because it actually makes sense. You actually address somebody and they say, okay, go ahead and talk because they're ready to hear you. Otherwise, if there's battle or explosions in the commander's ear or whatnot and he doesn't hear you, at least you know that he didn't respond to say go, and you can just wait a couple minutes to say command Charlie 3, and he'll probably say go Charlie 3, and you can talk. One more example. If I'm the leader of Mech Squad 2, Mechanized Squad, and I want to speak to Platoon 1 Bravo Squad, my call sign would be Mech 2. Platoon 1 Bravo would be Bravo 1. So I'd say Bravo 1, Mech 2, and I'd wait for Bravo 1 to say go Mech 2. And then I'd say what I'd have to say. And that's how it works. And you guys listening in on Channel Commander will actually figure that out in a short period of time. As far as listening in on Channel Commander, outside of this class, you're welcome to listen in on Channel Commander. We don't have restrictions on you listening in, but we ask that you do not participate in any communications whatsoever in Channel Commander unless you are actually a squad lead, an operations lead, a platoon lead, or perhaps an officer. But you're welcome to listen in to see what's going on, to kind of get more of a feel for what's going on at command level, or learn, or to kind of get some pointers, or whatever it is. You're always welcome to listen in on Channel Commander. Just don't abuse it by talking if you're actually not a squad lead or above.
Digitals, if you could give me 1 second, I'm sorry. Is Dr. Green Eggs and Ham in TeamSpeak at the moment?
I don't believe he is.
Dr. Green Eggs and Ham. Smart. Nope, he's not here.
Are we all set?
No, not yet. 1 second. I'm
Got
trying
that.
to talk
Who's
with.
been shooting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
he's
talking
been shooting
across platoon
rockets.
chat. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples of good command communications and bad communications. So here's a good command communication. All right, so click command, 5 enemy gals inbound, fully loaded, southwest. That is good communications. When you're talking in command, it's important for you to limit your communications to very precise information in the shortest possible period of time. It also has to be relevant information. A general rule of thumb is broken sentences. So again, command, 5 enemy gals inbound, fully loaded, southwest is good. An example of bad communications. Command, we have 5 enemy galaxies coming in from the warp gate, heading to Sierra listening post. We need anti-air up somewhere and get some maxes ready to crash them. That's bad communications. Okay, so that's an example of just way too much. A couple more good examples. Bravo 3, objective complete, awaiting orders. You know, another one. Bravo 3, push back from objective, need backup or new orders. Real quick, real precise, boom. Another bad example. Command, they are taking into our comm array. Who gives a fuck, right? Command, we are in a 3-way over here at the biolab. Really? Come on. Another one. Command, Charlie 12 is not listening to orders. Not something to be said on command, right? So you have to actually get a feel for it, but generally the rule of thumb is just use broken sentences and say things that are actually completely relevant to what's going on or what your squad objectives are. The commander is looking at the map and the big thing and the whole continent. He doesn't need to know about Indarcom array when your orders are to take Sarah listening post or something like that. He just doesn't. Believe me, commander's looking at it, okay? If you have to take more than a few seconds at a time in command channel as a squad lead, you're doing it wrong. If you are providing information that is not specifically relevant to objectives of your squad, you're doing it wrong. Listing your squads appropriately. So, we're going to move on. That's all channel commander. Does anyone have any questions about channel commander? Okay. Let's move on. So, the first thing you do as a squad lead when you assume a squad is to check and list the squad appropriately. Remember, this class is based on the format that we are in formal ops broken down into squads. So you will want your private squad and outfit-only options checked off and recruitment enabled. Again, the first thing you do as a squad lead is to check your squad listing. You will want private squad and outfit-only options checked off and recruitment enabled. You also want to list your squad appropriately. We sort of have an issue with people listing squads in a standard fashion, but they're generally the same. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples of how I list squads. And this is in the written content that I'm going to provide to you all up to the class. This entire class is in the written content for you to have after this. I list, if I'm in Alpha Squad, first platoon, I label it RGQT space dash space Alpha space 1. So it's RGQT dash Alpha 1. That means Rage Quit, Platoon 1, Alpha Squad, General Ops. If I'm in Platoon 3, Alpha Squad, I just type in RGQT-Alpha 3. That means Rage Quit, Platoon 3, Alpha Squad, General Ops. A couple more examples. If I'm in Air, say I'm in Platoon 4, Bravo, Air, and we're doing Air Ops in that platoon, I would label myself RGQT-Bravo 4 space Air. Same thing with mech. You know, RGQT, say, / Delta 5. I'm in Platoon 5 Delta Squad as a mech, mechanized. The second thing you do upon assuming a squad in formal operations after listing it properly is ensuring that all your members of your squad are in your squad channel, and that you remove any public members that are not in TeamSpeak. You guys got to remember, sometimes we actually do have guests that are in TeamSpeak, and sometimes we actually have people from other outfits come in that get on our TeamSpeak. So you just want to remove the members that are not in TeamSpeak at all, and make sure that our guests, our regular members, and our guests from other outfits are in with your squad. Also, if they're out of the outfit, since you're listing it outfit only, and we have a couple of people come on from another outfit, you are welcome to invite them into your squad if they're on TeamSpeak. They'll obviously be talking to you and asking for an invite. Are there any questions about listing your squad appropriately and making sure they're all in your TeamSpeak channel? Okay, we're going to move on. Here's where we start to get to the meat of things, the role of a squad lead. Squad lead, when done correctly, is the single hardest task to achieve and perform when in our operations format. Again, you guys have the hardest job in operations. It's not being a grunt, and it's certainly not operations lead. Usually, and under most circumstances, squad lead is the toughest position. It demands the most out of a person to do the right way if you're doing it correctly. As a squad lead during formal operations, you are typically given objectives, and it is up to you to complete them with the assets that you have. You, in reality, as a squad lead, are a mini operations leader, and you will need to manage your own assets, your own strategies to achieve the objectives given to you. Operations lead, at times, will call upon specific roles and assets for you. However, for the most part, you're going to manage your own. These range from ensuring you have people suited up in the classes you require, to vehicle utilization, to how you go about using proper assets in a way that gives you the best tactical advantage to attack, defend, suppress, or tactically retreat to or from a given objective. This course is designed to promote that way of thinking about the role, as well as enforce some practical procedures that we can do, and that we have. The entire goal of the rest of this course is to remove the legacy way of thinking, in terms of simply setting a waypoint on a target that usually blinds everyone, and simply have your squad zerg it in some semblance of a clump. We want to get away from that, and that's what this class is about. As squad lead, again, you are a mini operations lead, and you have to take into account all your assets, the best path to a target, high ground, cover, tactical advantage, and where you are at tactical disadvantages at times. You need to recognize those. But the number one priority above all else, no matter what, is that your entire squad is having fun. All right, this is a video game. At the end of the day, we're all friends just having fun. So fun is the number one goal. But this class isn't centered around the fun part. That's really up to you as a squad lead to provide that level of entertainment, so to speak. But it is the number one priority. Everyone needs to be having fun. So on occasion, remember to ask your squad mates if they're actually having fun, and take their feedback to heart. So, I went over the role of a squad lead as being a mini ops lead, and the rest of this class is going to be broken down into why that is and how that is. Is there any questions about the role of a squad lead?
Will there be any discussion on the squad formats?
In terms of what?
So, like the type of makeup. So, when you're running with the squad or the squad lead, typically there's a V format or a single file, or those types of things.
Okay, you're talking about formations?
Yeah.
Okay, formations are actually different classes that we have yet to formulate. Now, you'll see some of that in Spandex. A lot of it in Spandex, actually. We'll get to that, and we'll do a little bit of that. And this class does cover a little bit of that, but remember, this is Squad Lead 101. Squad Lead 102 gets will be designed a little bit more towards specific formations and certain other things that we can do in that aspect, but 101 really doesn't cover that in specific. You'll see that some of it is actually covered here, and in a couple sections below, we will actually talk about a few things done within the squad as far as troop movements. It's actually called squad maneuvers, and you'll see it on this paper. But the next section is communications. There are three
really quick on that, a lot of that is covered in our Spandex Advanced Infantry course and in the other infantry courses. The movements and formations and lines and how to breach and all that. This is a leadership course.
Yep. Now, a couple of our labs actually do cover a lot of some of the formations that we do. Like, for instance, I'll get there, but we do some basic breaching in this class. This is the first squad lead class that's going to show you basic breaching, but we don't go to the level of what Spandex does with it. We sort of give you the idea, and the idea is you're eventually going to take Spandex class and learn how to do it like a professional. We're just going to show you a very basic, like, what a breach is and the general idea of it in this class. But you need to go to Spandex and get Spandex training to get the exactly how we really do it the best possible way, because there's nothing I could possibly teach. I mean, that's a class in itself, and it's a great class, and this class doesn't touch that. So we will show you a basic breach, though. It's just not taught like Spandex. It's a very basic breach to get you ready for Spandex training. So, getting back to squad communications, there are three areas of squad communications. The first one is environmental, and I'm going to teach you three different things about squad communications that are going to help you as a squad lead control the environment of your squad channel. So, squad communications have an environmental aspect to them. It's the environment that the squad leader promotes and allows. You've all been in a channel sometimes during a big battle where there's 30 plus people and some people are talking about picking their nose and some people are doing whatever and you guys are dying because you're not able to hear enemies and commands and all that stuff, alright? So, as a squad lead in our operations format, you basically have 12 people being in one channel. So the environment actually promotes a little bit of fun, derpy, joking around, whatever, because it's not a room with 30 people and it's less volume and people are more apt to focus when they need to in that particular environment. But that said, there are some things that are required by like having to give orders out, receive orders from command, receive input from other squads and squad mates and all of that. Let me just move my character before I time out. Okay, so there are things you have to do as a squad lead. So it's time for your squad to get focused. And you have challenges in this area. You have 3 tools that you're used to tell your squad. So if you need to clear the airwaves to receive or give orders or to clear up some derpy comms, we say clear comms. You don't need to be a dick about it. You don't need to be angry. If you get to that point, then you need to start removing members from your squad. But what we say is basically clear comms. Sometimes you have to say it twice because people are in battles or just whatever and they're all excited and can't shut up or whatever. But we just say clear comms. Everybody in this outfit and everybody that's not in this outfit should understand what clear comms means. It means everyone needs to stop talking. You need to receive your orders from command, talk to command, get your orders out there, and you guys need to fight and focus and dial in. That's what clear comms is for. That's one tool. The other tool, maybe at times if you wish to maintain tactical comms where maybe you don't want that derpy comms but you need some tactical stuff, the standard is to say tactical comms, which means everybody that communicates needs to keep it tactical. Much like the example that was given before, keep it brief, broken sentences, relevant, quick, and pertinent. That's what tactical comms actually is. So as a squad lead, you've got clear comms, and you've got tactical comms. And then you have a third tool. Should you be at somewhat of a boring interval, like a cap or hanging out at a warp gate in vehicles waiting for orders and blah, 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 and it's okay to talk, then you can tell your squad open comms, which means say whatever you want for now. Comms are open. So give them that time. You got 3 tools. You got clear comms, tactical comms, and open comms. Everybody should understand those concepts. Now, if you have new guys, don't be a dick. Coach them. You're a squad lead. You're a little bit above, whatever. You got to remember that some of these people are just new, right? So if they have challenges in this area, don't make it cause frustration or problems. Just give them some coaching right then and there. Like, hey, dude, when we say tactical comms, you got to keep it tactical, which means very brief, short, whatever. Do what you need to do as a person, a squad lead, to get that. But clear comms, tactical comms, and open comms. That is squad communications, environmental controls. Those are your 3 tools. Are there any questions about those? Okay, we're going to move on to the second part about squad communications, and that's maneuvers. When in communication with your squad, you have to be, again, very direct and brief with your orders. You will also find that you will be better off if you repeat your orders now and again, reinforce them from time to time. Because we all have battles. Sometimes there are explosions. We always don't hear. We get distracted, stuff like that. So remember, don't repeat your orders constantly, but every once in a while, it's okay to repeat your current orders to reinforce what you're doing. Sometimes when you give an order and you go cap a point and you're all standing at the door, sometimes people can tend to get a little wiry and jumpy, or some enemies came in and they start to get out of formation. So repeat your order again to get everyone back into, hey, we're still doing this, guys. We're okay. Everything's okay. We're still doing this order. This is it. Repeat it once in a while, and that will reinforce your current orders. So when you're doing maneuvers, repeat your orders once in a while. It's okay to do that. It keeps everybody on the same page. That's what it's all about. So as a squad lead, you always have to be on top of the flow of the entire squad in terms of movement. Over time, you will learn that skill. It comes with time and practice to learn how to flow a squad to where you're in very good control of the situation, the battle. You know what you're doing. You've got them positioned properly, tactically, whatever, and there's a flow to it. That will be learned over time. But another thing you want to promote, of course, is your squad's ability to communicate during maneuvers tactfully. At the grunt level, it's all about enemy contacts, right? Because you're looking for contacts locally. You're a squad moving around. So we have a tool. It's called Contact or Contacts. And the tool that you want to use, basically, you're going to have to coach your squad into using tactical comms in this fashion. So you're going to have new people or people that get in your squad and kind of wah, 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 and they start calling targets or whatever. And you need to coach them and also enforce the use of contacts. Now, contacts basically means contact, an enemy contact, or contacts, plural, for multiple enemy contacts. So I'm going to give you some examples of good usage of the word or words contact or contacts. Good usage would be contact west. One contact west. That's what it means. Everybody has a compass. They turn their guns west. They engage the contact. Contact west, up high or down low. That means contact west, up high like in a tower, or down low like down a valley or something. It gets people looking west and up high or down low, so that whatever. Another one is, it's okay to say contact generator room. If you're all around a generator room, you pretty much know where that generator room is. It's not like a whole base, but you're around. You should be around the general area, so they know. You can do contact left if you're all moving together in a direction. Contact left, right. There's another couple of ones that can get a little bit more complex, like contacts south, maxes, multiple maxes south, or contacts, multiple contacts east, tanks, multiple east tanks. In the east direction, or contacts north, air. Those are 2 and 3 word sentences that make a whole world of difference, right? Now, if you're doing it wrong, here are some bad examples. They have a max in the gen room. Okay. Light assault on the tower. Does that really make any relevant? You know what I mean? Does that? If you guys can kind of see where we're going with this, it really doesn't help. Okay, it's not contacts, tower, up high. It's light assault on a tower. Okay, where? They have massive enemies to the east as the person sees them on the radar, but it's not really a contact to the squad. They just see it on the mini-map, right? So they're not really a contact. So they have massive enemies to the east, doesn't help. And here's a couple of my favorites. Gal. Great. Another one of my favorites. Max, or enemy tank, or Reaver. And the all-time best one ever is behind you. You got 12 guys looking behind them as soon as somebody says that. Completely can destroy a battle, okay? So get used to trying to use and have your squad mates use contact or contacts and keep it brief. Direction, left, right, up, down, north, south, and what they are basically, tank, whatever, okay? Are there any questions about that tool?
Well, Digital, you say, you brought up the gal thing. What if you say something like, enemy galaxy mid to high coming from the west?
That's better, okay? That's more effective, and that's a good attempt at it. And as you grow, that's fine. I would be more apt to say enemy gal 6 of 12 north, something like that. If you can, in other words, if you can't spot the number that's in that gal, don't typically worry about it, because again, you got to remember your squad and formal operations format are all pretty much in the same general area. They all most likely will see that gal, right? So if you want to call the gal out, that's fine. But another point that I need to make, and Spandex goes into this very greatly, is try to use contacts over in-game spotting. In-game spotting gives you guys away up to 100 meters, and it also dials in people to your location if they're like me and they listen on the battlefield. So try to discourage in-game spotting and try to encourage using the word contacts. Now, you can come up with whatever you need to, but just understand, try to use broken sentences, keep it brief, relevant, important, and pertinent, so that people can actually handle that contact based on the information you provide. Just saying gal, just saying max, or just saying something like behind you or Reaver just won't work. It doesn't never work. It just clutters comms. So just keep that in mind.
Digitals?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wolfen, when I do my squad lead now, okay, as I was training, I say southbound, northbound. North meaning it's north and inbound as part of the word. Is that allowed, or should I never use that?
Could you understand how that might be confusing when it's southbound, inbound? Because if you just give a compass direction as to where you see it, usually you'll get the guns on it. But if you're saying inbound, people have to think in their mind inbound from north. So am I?
Yeah, but I say
south?
northbound. So
northbound mean okay. North. So are they heading? You know what I mean? Like, just call the compass direction. That's the better way to do it, because that gets your guns right on it. There's no question when you say west or southwest, people are going to look west or southwest and see exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
So that's my recommendation. Again, everyone has their own little thing, but let's save that one for a little bit later. Any questions on the contacts?
Actually, you mentioned just seeing a gal up high. Would that be, even if it's not necessarily directly relevant to your current op, would that be something to call out in comm chat,
right,
like real fast?
Good question. No. When you're a squad, contacts are for relevant enemies. You're talking about immediate threats to the squad. If there's a tank 200 meters out that's not looking at you shooting and just moving away or moving some other direction, that's not a contact. A contact is a tank that actually has the ability to threaten the squad. Like if he's up on that hill and he's stopped and his gun's pointed, or he could potentially turn his turret and see you all, that's a contact. But if he's just somebody rolling away or a gallop high or not even inbound and not really a threat, it's not really need to be said. Not at the squad level. You know, your squad leader also will have his head on a swivel watching. Well, you guys as squad leaders will have a head on your swivel and you'll be watching for this stuff and you'll be determining a lot of this stuff. But you don't need to get that deep. Just get as long as you get people using the word contacts, even if somebody messes up and doesn't say the word, they're at least trying and doing it right. And you know what? Fine, just let it go. You know, if somebody calls a contact because a gal's flying around and they're not supposed to really technically, let's not get that deep into it. Let's just, hey, good job, thanks for calling the contact, goodbye. Let's move on to the next thing. And they'll get it eventually, that contacts are really for direct engagements. Are there any other questions about contacts? Okay, so another thing that, one other thing about the subsection here we have on communications, on maneuvers, is we already talked about infantry not spotting targets if they don't have to. In some circumstances, it's okay to spot targets, perhaps a turret, right? Because you need to see a live turret. It's okay to spot those sometimes. You have to use your judgment on that, but typically if you can call contacts first. Use spotting as your last resort. Or if you're in a firefight, then you can use spotting because they know where you're at. But we're going to leave that up to you, how you want to micromanage your squad. As initial squad leads, just keep it simple, keep it to contacts. Also, you want to brief your squad on the usage of support. This is the last section of this little area here. No one in the squad should be cluttering communications for a medic or ammo. Brief the engineers that they should drop ammo continuously when it's possible, and the medics themselves, you should brief them to watch their squad screen and help proactively provide reses when they can do it without dying. Once in a while, you can fill the gap before a fight or during a fight by just reminding your squad, NGs drop ammo, medics pick them up, which means you res the people, pick them up. If you have one guy saying, I need a res at whatever location, it actually hurts squad continuity, and that squad should have it together enough to handle business without shouts for help. A squad moving together as a unit, the medics, who are medics in that squad, should be watching that squad screen, especially for the maxes, because they don't have the little skull and crossbones. But a good medic will watch the squad screen and wait till the right time to go res that person in the safest fashion they can to get that person back up. And so you just want to coach your medics in that fashion. You shouldn't have somebody running off down the steps when you're all on the second floor and dying and then calling for reses. That person was supposed to be with the squad on the second floor. That person's going to have to find his way back to the squad at that point, because the squad can then lose their medic who's going to go downstairs to try to res them. You don't want that. So that has to do with continuity and whatever. Just be aware of it. Brief your NGs and your support troops like medics and stuff to constantly drop ammo, pick your guys up, brief them to watch the squad screen for deaths, and to try to do it without dying. Is there any questions on that one section? Okay, we're going to go to the next section, which is basic squad maneuver responsibility. As a squad lead, and thinking about specific objectives you're given, you will find that you will have to manage the maneuvers of your squad, typically also utilizing your waypoint. In squad communications, you have to be efficient with orders. The main premise of what you do as a squad lead is get assets from one place to another. Again, the main premise of a squad lead is to get assets from one place to another. You will be thinking about getting your squad their tactical advantage. So for example, instead of just zerging a point and respawning if killed, and zerging it again, you will now be thinking about getting your squad with balanced kits, moving together as a team, perhaps building to building, or maybe even getting to high ground or behind cover. When you have to suppress fire from a location of advantage before you move in, that's okay. Maybe just send one person to cap a point while the other holds a position of tactical advantage. So if you send your infiltrator to cap the point, and you hold your squad back where they're in a tactical advantage somewhere, the infiltrator goes in, caps the point, maybe runs out, whatever, you guys still have your whole squad in a position of tactical advantage should you get pushed back. These things you will develop as a skill as you do this more often. But just like command channel, when you are giving orders, you need to be specific and direct when you're talking about maneuvers. Be as brief as possible. Use your compass directions and use your waypoint. Squad leads use your waypoint a lot. Don't just put it on one section and have people zerg to it. So you move your other guys around based on what is needed, what their kits are, and what the kit capabilities are. Some of the examples of some things you might say as a squad lead, and the spirit of this is, during a movement, maxes and heavies in front, support troops in the back. Another thing you might say is, hey infiltrator, go hack us Sunday, go hack those terminals. Send the infiltrator off to do it. Light assaults, get up high and scout, let us know what's going on. Another thing I use often is everyone move to cover, or everyone get in a building and hold that building. Another one, everyone get a gun on all entryways. Don't have people stand in doors and windows unless they're max, but have
User joined your channel.
stuff like that. Another one is everyone go to the LZ landing zone and clear a gal for pickup. Clear for a gal pickup. Another long-winded one, but important, is hey, squad, get behind me in the max. We are hopping from building to building and clearing them before we attack the point. We move in 5 seconds. It's another tool you can use, is giving your squad seconds to move. Okay? When you give an order, you can say, hey guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go from here to that building before we go to A. We're going to move in 10 seconds. Ready? Or get ready. We're going to move. And then count. I usually give it like 5 or 8 seconds, but I usually count and say go, and I start going. Another order that you might hear yourself saying is, squad, when you respawn at the Sunday, stay there and wait for the rest of us. We are regrouping. It's okay to get everyone regrouping at a Sunday. If you guys go in and wipe, don't just have people spawn at the Sunday and go back in. Have people spawn at the Sunday and wait 10, 15, 20 seconds, get the group together, move back in as a group, handle business. Another thing I say is next person to spawn at the Sunday, guard it with a burster or anti-vehicle. Okay, so sometimes your Sunday's starting to get contested. It's okay to split 1 or 2 people off and have them guard that Sunday. That's your spawn point. Another one, of course, is squad move to waypoint, stuff like that. Here's a couple of notes about this. We do not recommend having a squad in a clump or a line of people, and it's okay for people to play their class. I often like to have my max and heavy units up in front and support in the back. I like to have my light assaults up high and running around and doing other things. My infiltrators either up front, up high, scouting, or doing cap stuff. Having your squad in a clump or a line makes it easy targets for the enemy. So with that said, it's important for a squad leader to keep the squad together, moving together with an objective and a goal, and maybe once in a while clump up in a room or a defensive point or a hill or whatever. But they don't have to be in a clump. That doesn't, a lot of people think they're leading a squad well if they're all in a clump, and that's not necessarily the case. You can take an entire wall of a base and spread out along that wall. Your objective is to hold that wall, right? So why all be in the clump in the middle? It doesn't make sense. So get them spread out. It's okay to think like that. You want your people playing their kit the best they can. We all have a bunch of skilled players here. So you want them to utilize that kit as best they can. People will naturally, by way of their kit and playing it, know kind of where to be and how to support the squad eventually after they do this for a while. Light assaults will know to get up high on that, base wall that we're, defending, and infiltrators will know to kind of be where they need to be. And maxes will probably, if you have 3 maxes, one will be in one tower, one will be in the other tower, and the other one will be in the middle. And you'll have maxes all along the wall, stuff like that. So move your troops in that fashion and use your assets that way. No clumping. Unless, you have to. There are times you have to actually clump up. You need to coach your squad, especially if they're newcomers. It's okay if people mess up and get out of line and stuff like that. You don't have to be a prick. You just have to say, hey, Bravo 12, you're not with us, please get with us. And say it a few times. Give them a chance. Give them a chance to get with you and kind of get with the program. Every time I lead a squad, there's always 1 or 2 guys that are just running off somewhere, like we'll be on a wall and 2 guys will be over at A, out capping a point or whatever, and you just keep reminding them. Now, if there's a problem with a squad member that's actually not listening, instead of getting into a conflict as a squad lead, you simply boot them from your squad. That's it. Do not insult anyone or disrespect anyone. You just boot them from your squad and get a new player that's going to follow directions and orders. And if they come back into your squad, and talk to you, fine, but the whole idea is, as a squad lead, you're not supposed to be a dick, right? Believe me, it's very tough, it's very hard, it's very stressful at times. But please do not insult or disrespect anyone. Just handle business the way you should handle business, and that's booting people. Okay, if there's any questions, we're going to move on to the next few things, and we're going to start getting into our labs. Okay, so your primary tool as a squad lead is waypoints. As a squad lead, you should be utilizing your waypoint for every micro move you wish your squad to do. Hold on while I move my character around so I don't time out. For example, you should not be putting your waypoint at objective A, for example, on a tower, and blinding your squad with it. You know how those waypoints blind you sometimes. They suck. And just having your squad zerg to it and keep fighting over it until it's won or lost. You don't want to do that anymore. This class is designed to have you thinking about every step of the way leading up to the cap of A. From a Sunderer pickup location, to a Sunderer park location, to the exact path you want your squad to go that will lead to the most success at an objective. Not just a linear straight line to a target, which is what we've been doing in the past, but utilize your high ground, your cover, your avenues that provide the best tactical advantage possible. And as a good squad lead, you should primarily be utilizing your waypoint almost constantly. It's the best tool to get a squad moving in unison together, grouped properly, and in order, and on the same page. Any questions about the waypoint? Just use it, and use it, and use it. Alright, the next section is tactical advantage positioning. We've touched on this in the previous class, the previous content a little bit. When you're given an objective, it's up to the squad lead ultimately to successfully obtain or perform that objective you're given. We need to get out of the legacy habit of zerging and linear tactics. The entire continent and every base has inherent strengths and weaknesses, and this includes the terrain in between them. This class is designed to enforce the idea of utilization of high ground, cover, and proper squad assets to achieve objectives, with the squad lead doing the thinking as to how to go about doing it. So you guys actually have to think about tactical stuff on the micromap level. Your objective, the mountains around it, the valleys, the trees, the cliffs, the rocks, the hills. So as a squad lead, we encourage you to zoom in as far as you can on a given objective or an area of operation that you're given, and fully start to learn and understand the surroundings in each base, each tower, each map as you do it. It's always a learning process for you squad leads to attack and defend and suppress fire and tactically retreat from these places. You need to learn the best places to attack and defend, or set up a base of operations, and we'll get into what a base of operations is later in the lab. We are trying to encourage squad leads to consider battles in a more tactical mindset than a Zerg force mindset. With that said, here are some examples. Avoid attacking the strongest defense points or defending the weakest defense points. Use cover, shadows, terrain, building, walls, rocks, and other objects to your advantage, especially high ground, if and when possible. You do not always have to employ a hard attack. You can suppress and soft attack an objective to weaken it, or force an enemy to make a decision, or make an exploit of their moves that you can take advantage of later, or at least force an enemy to show their hand. You do not always have to do everything with the full squad. You can send a fire team or solo scout for certain things. It's okay to have scouts out there. Infiltrators, light assaults, and max units make for great scouts in certain situations. Use them. If you find yourself in an uphill fight, it's okay to tactically retreat to even the odds, with the mindset that you will eventually push an attack later on, or get new orders, or continue a stalemate, or make the enemy have a costly attack or advance. And then, at that point, you can wait for backup or wait for new orders. Retreating is okay tactfully if you need to do that to get a tactical advantage on a point or area of battle that you've been given. You're at least putting pressure on that point and doing what you're supposed to do. It's beating your head against the enemy fist is what usually makes people not have a good time, not have fun, and usually causes ops to kind of start to falter and fail. But if you're doing things like tactically retreating and tactically suppress firing from a certain point, you're actually advancing what the ops lead is trying to get done. Are there any questions about tactical advantage and positioning? We'll have some labs on this later. I'm almost at the hour mark, so I want to whip through the rest of the lecture. So the next section is retreating, suppressing, and advancing, which we just briefly touched upon, so I'll go through this really quick. So stated previously, it's okay to have an objective and employ retreating, suppressing, or advancing type maneuvers. It's not always about attacking and getting the Sunderer on top of an enemy's spawn point. Those tactics fail, typically, and they fail miserably, which resets your entire objective for your entire squad from zero. It goes right to scratch. You have to start over. We are encouraging squad leads to actually use their heads and micromanage the minimap area of combat, or the arena of combat, so to speak. We are encouraging squad leads to think outside the box and not look at a given objective as the only thing there is, but to set up battle scenarios that promote taking that objective. We want squad leads thinking that at any moment what would they do if an entire enemy platoon showed up? Is that one spawn beacon and Sunderer parked right on top of the enemy spawn going to leave you any options if that happens? No. But if parking a Sunday 200 meters away, having some scouts, and capping the point with like one infiltrator while the rest of the squad is on high ground, shooting down with tactical advantage, that's at least a better position to handle that platoon of people that just show up in your one squad. And it gives you some options to further the battle. Are there any questions about retreating, suppressing, and advancing?
Yeah, Wolfman. No matter what you do on what strategy you give, the Zerg keeps winning. There's no way to, solve that, right?
No, there is definitely a way to solve that, and a lot of that has to do with ops lead. I call it circles. I am not going to get into that content right now, but you, the ops lead, and your squad can outsmart a Zerg force. It can be done. You can make the Zerg force falter and fail. You can start taking their armor assets or air assets down and force them into a certain avenue. There are things you can do. That is not taught in this class, but it will be taught specifically in Ops Lead class, and perhaps like Squad Lead 101, 102, or 103, where we actually start talking about how to handle the Zerg. There are definitely things you can do. The Zerg is collectively stupid. This whole class is to try to get us out of the Zerg mindset so we're not collectively stupid with our squad ops, okay? Any other questions? Okay, the next section is calling for support, or calling and providing critical updates to Ops Lead. Part of the routine of operations is good communication to the operations commander. You guys are typically calling him PL, or platoon lead. What you have to understand, and what I teach, is that we're going to have multiple platoons of people. We have to get out of the idea of calling them platoon lead and start calling them operations lead or operations commander, because we are going to have multiple platoon leads eventually. It's fine for now, I'm not offended or whatever, but just keep in mind we're going to have multiple platoons someday. I call them operations lead or operations commander, and I'll not stop calling them that. I've been doing it for 10 years. So, the squad lead needs to be aware of when to contact the commander and update command. So here are some examples of when you actually talk on command channel or whatever to talk to your commander. Well, one is when you took an objective that you were given, or if you lost an objective you're given, or if you found yourself in a stalemate on an objective you were given. Perhaps you'll find yourself needing a particular resource brought in, like maybe you need air support or more infantry or another squad or two or some tanks. You can talk to your commander about that briefly. Tell him what you need. If you're not getting the job done, you need help. Talking with other squads that might be local is another reason to call for support and help. If you guys are working on gens and your gens, got a whole bunch of greenies or puppies around it guarding it, and you were given that gen and you notice that your squad on the other gen is having a tough time, talk to them. Hey, we'll be over there in a minute. Hold your ground. That's what channel commander's for, and that's how you use it. So this is about opening proper communications, because the operations lead is going to rely heavily on what you're talking about when it comes to the objectives you're given and the situations that you're in. The ops lead needs to know. A general rule of thumb is if you can't handle a scenario alone and you have the ability to reach out for support, do it. Be brief about it and to the point and what you need, and provide a very brief description of the scenario. You may get help, or you may be given new orders. But it all accounts towards what the operations lead needs to do or handle at his level. And critical updates are key in operations continuity. So keep your commander in the loop as to what's going on. Be his eyes on the field on the objective you were given. It's okay, for instance, to be holding a vertical generator as an objective at a base, and every 2 minutes, remind ops lead that it is held and clear. It's not okay to have a few people attack that gen and tell the ops lead that it's under attack, because that situation your squad can handle. But if it's at a point where you find yourself wondering if maybe you can't, that's when you provide the critical update and say you need help. Because if you find yourself wondering if you can hold that gen, you're probably not going to hold it. You need some support, or it's going to be tough, and it's okay to call for support then. But if you have 1 or 2 guys attacking the gen, you guys are clearing it out, why even update command on that? Don't even do it, because that's your job. You guys have it handled. So every 2 or 3 minutes, continue to remind the ops lead that you have the objective cleared, everything's good at what you've been given, so the ops lead doesn't have to think about or ask about that, and he's just constantly updated and handling business as he needs to handle it.
User joined your channel.
Any questions about calling for support? We're almost at the hour mark, and I'm almost done with the lecture. Asset management. As mentioned previously, in formal operations, we task our squad leads to manage their own assets, from Sunderers to Galaxies to the kit your squad is composed of. We will have air, mechanized, and specialized squads within operations to help out as well eventually. But for the most part, you manage your own transportation, your own assets, and your own squad composition. Operations lead will at times call for specific things that involve specific assets and specific targets. This, of course, will trump anything that you're doing because that's the ops lead doing what he needs to do. Like if a gal drop is specifically called by your ops lead, or you are specifically told to pull vehicles of a certain kind and do a specific thing, that's fine, that's what you do. But that's the ops lead doing his job. But besides those scenarios, you guys as squad leads need to look at your target, the topology of the Earth around that target, and decide for yourselves what the best path is, what vehicles you should use to get there, the squad composition you need, and everything for the target. And here's the most important thing about this. From target to target, all that stuff tends to change, either greatly or slightly, and you need to constantly compensate and recalculate your assets and manage them constantly, because going from one target to the next, you know, maybe those vehicles you have aren't really going to work at that target if it's uphill, or you can't get there because it's surrounded by mountains. So start thinking about that stuff. That's what this class is about. So I said that there were 3 aspects of squad communications. Hold on while I move my character. The third aspect of squad communications is that asset management. When dealing with your squad in terms of having them pull assets, you have several communication methods to do so. Given what you need, it's a good practice to ask someone to pull an asset and ask them to type an X in squad chat as the volunteer to pull that asset. Or if you're pulling multiple assets, ask people to put an X in squad chat. That gives you the name of the person and the first person volunteer, and you can use that list accordingly to get that asset pulled. Sometimes you will not get a volunteer, so sometimes you have to consider pulling the asset yourself or delegating that responsibility to a specific squad member if it's really needed, should they have that asset and the ability to pull it. Sometimes, and rarely, the asset you want can't be pulled. You will then have to change your tactic to a less than optimal solution, but just know that it's good practice to have somebody actually type an X in squad chat when you ask for a Sunday or a gal or a harasser or anything, or somebody to pull an infiltrator or a certain kit. Have them type X in squad chat so you see their names and you're properly managing your squad based on your chat box. A lot of people like to say, I'll do it in TeamSpeak, and they typically do that. I hate that. It's my pet fucking peeve. I ask them to type an X in squad chat, type a fucking X in squad chat so I can manage my squad better. That's my pet peeve, but that's what I have them do. Balancing squads. It's a fairly simple concept, but overlooked often by squad leads. We have already touched base on the concept of asset management and balance of squad composition. You as a squad lead need to decide what kits and classes are going to work or not for a given scenario and get your troops lined up accordingly. To just go a little further into the concept, you can also coach your squad to either stick to a particular role for the duration of operations, have them actually take a particular role or two, or otherwise there's a specific, if there's a specific task you can have them change to. I usually have one dedicated infiltrator, and then I kind of manage my squad, but you can do this in various ways. But sometimes I just tell my squad, okay, see what you're in? You're that for the duration of ops, for the next 2 hours. So get your favorite kit, pull it. Or you can coach your squad to pay attention to the composition of the squad itself. We all have that squad screen that shows everybody's kits, and when people are spawning and stuff, you can coach them to look at what we have and make sure that we have a medic or two, or an engineer or two, or at least one infiltrator, and a max, and a couple of heavies with anti-vehicle assets. You can coach them along and say, hey guys, we need you to keep the squad balanced, so look at what your spawn capability, what your squad looks like when you're spawning, and get a kit that complements us. You can do that as well. Just be aware that if you're going to load up a gal full of people and go for a gen, if they're all infiltrators, chances are you're not going to hold that gen. So that's what balancing squad is all about. So you have a couple of tools and a couple of ways to do that. Are there any questions about balancing squads? Okay. Yep, go ahead.
Typically you only have like one infiltrator, right?
I like one dedicated infiltrator. There's usually that one guy that loves to play infiltrator. And he pulls it, and you don't even have to ask him. You just see it in your squad screen. And I talk to him right away, and I'm like, here's how I deal with infiltrators. And I don't want to go too long, but here's how I deal with infiltrators. I tell infiltrators that they do not have to follow the squad orders. They have to follow the squad objectives and do their infiltrator thing, which means I always need them hacking. I always need them pulling that Sunday now and again. you know, from the terminal, because their job basically hack, pull Sundays, and scout. But I tell them that they're kind of like on a long leash. If I see my infiltrator on a mountain behind me, I'm fine with that. You know, if he's way far away, I'm fine with that. If he's way up ahead, I'm fine with that. That's how I deal with infiltrators, because there's that one guy that plays infiltrator very well, and I kind of don't really put a leash on him in terms of squad movement, because an infiltrator really can't kind of move with a squad as a squad typically would move and be the best player at that particular role. That role requires a little bit different play style. So that's how I deal with infiltrators. But I usually like to have one dedicated infiltrator, so I know that I have somebody that can hack a terminal if needed, because that's sometimes the Sunday you really need to get pulled for success. Any other questions? Okay, we have 2 more sections, which are very brief. Single tasking units. We've covered this already. As mentioned previously, as examples in the previous class content we've had, it's okay to start thinking about your assets and tactical agenda in some other ways, like single tasking particular units under your command. Go out hidden behind a hill in a secret, in secret, and hiding and quiet and not shooting, while the infiltrator sneaks in and hacks a terminal and pulls that Sunday behind the rock before you guys attack. That would be single tasking unit. Maybe you saw an enemy run into a building, but you haven't seen him since, and he's still in there, you think? And maybe he planted a claymore. Well, why not have your Max run in and scout him? He can take a claymore hit and wipe out a single enemy. If he gets ambushed, he can also run back to the squad while you guys are all in a tactical position, and you guys are all automatically shooting guns down range and just mowing them down as they chase the Max. So he can run back to you. You know, you can think about that. You know, maybe the generator over a wall is preventing you all from getting in. Why move your whole squad into a potential ambush or a position of disadvantage when you can have light assault go do the job? Maybe have that light assault get back with the squad when he's done, or stay in a tree and scout. You know, go get the gen, get up in a tree and scout for us, and let us know who's coming. We'll wait here. We'll be in when the gen goes down and we can get in. That type of thing. And then there's split tasking units, which we'll get into a lab about. Stick with us, guys. This is the end of the lecture, and then we're going to do some practical real-world stuff. We're going to learn some cool shit. Just like single tasking units, but on a slightly larger scale. Okay? Perhaps there's an enemy or two in a room to clear out, and we all mostly know the 3-man. Well, send a 3-man team in. If you got a balanced squad, you're going to have a medic, an NG, and a Max, right? So send a 3-man team to clear that room out. And leave the rest of your squad guarding the Sunday, so that you have your Sunday respawn, and they can respawn if they die, and you can, you know, go back to the drawing board if they get wiped. But a 3-man team typically will wipe out a squad of people. You've all seen it happen. It works. Perhaps the Sunderer is in a contested area. Why not leave a couple of guys back to defend it from air, ground, or C4? You know, when you go on a capping objective where you think maybe there's about 5-6 people and you have a whole squad, leave people back to guard the Sunday. That's your spawn point. Maybe the enemy has a good bit of concentrated fire downrange from a building that you're trying to attack, and typically buildings have 2 entrances, right? Why not split your squad up into 2 teams of 6, 2 fire teams, and have one go in one entrance and one go in the other at the same time, and flank the enemy? So you can split task your units, you know, make sure those units are balanced, get your 2 Maxes, 2 Medics, 2 NGs in each team, and have 6 and 6 go in one door and one in the other, and coordinate it, and just, you know, hit them from both sides and flank them. Usually that's going to get the job done. So you can also split task your units, as well as single task them to get some of the job done, depending on the scenario. So just keep that in mind.
Excuse me, Digitals, real quick. Black Mamba, Joseph, if you're gonna be here, stand still and quit shooting shit and blowing shit up. It's really fucking distracting to the rest of us trying to pay attention to Digitals.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
Get your
thing.
shit together.
No need for you guys to be here. If you don't want to be here, you're welcome to leave.
Okay, I'm not in game. I'm actually reading from my notes, so I didn't. Oh, I wasn't. I apologize.
Something.
I apologize for letting that happen. Yes, you two. I did ask everyone at the beginning of the class not to shoot, so please just refrain. We'll get plenty of shooting in here during the rest of this class. Okay, so we're 12 minutes over, but I think we're all set as far as time. That's the end of the lecture. We're actually going to enforce some of that with our labs, and I'm going to show you guys some moves. So is there any questions about the lecture? The lecture's over. We're going to just start doing stuff in game. And for those of you that are not in game, please get in game and get in squad.
Yeah, are the queues like the call outs and everything, like clear comms and, you know, everything that I tried to write down, is that all posted online in one of the forums?
I have a document that I just finished. It's still kind of rough and not finalized, but that document I am going to share. I'm going to have the media coordinator share it. So everybody in the outfit will have access to this class content, exactly how it's taught. Exactly what I just said. This is the first run-through of this particular class content in the first 2-hour class. So it will be all available. You guys can review it. There'll be a video on it. You guys can review the video, and it'll all be mostly the same stuff you've heard in class today.
Alright, thanks. Yeah, I found it real useful to have it for the spandex when you guys were going over loadouts. I was able to go online and check it out for
Yeah,
something I
that's
missed.
Ducat. He's the Ducat, and I think it's Caduceus are the two
Caduceus,
spandex.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
They have a really. I actually need to encourage a lot of you that really like tactical stuff to attend that class. It is outstanding, and you learn a lot about really close-knit tactical team play. But I don't want to take too much more time. But please consider that class when it's up. It's a really excellent class. Okay. Any other questions about the lecture?
If I could say something really quick about training before you start the next part.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm the training coordinator now because to try to get our training in line. So basically what I'm doing is I'm getting like this course from Digitals that he's nicely wrote out. Ducat's written nice curriculum. So is Fat Bastard, Nomicron, and American Muffin. They're all working on different classes, like a basic intro to the game class, advanced squad, advanced air, and then Digitals again is working on advanced armor. And by the end of this month, we're going to have a 75 training materials written in a big curriculum, and that's going to get sent out to everybody in the outfit. So everything we're talking about in all these classes is going to be down on paper so you can read it and go through it and kind of review in your mind if you want to and stuff. And then eventually we're going to have it set up with videos, and it's going to be written out word for word. Like what Jittles just read to you is eventually going to be written word for word, all the classes, so anybody can just pick it up and read it and actually just read through the class if they don't want to attend it or can't. So that's what's going on with the training now. It just takes a lot of time to get all this stuff together.
Yep, and this was actually spun up in a couple of weeks time frame, so it's not going to be that far away for this particular class. We're going to have a video on it. People are helping right now. They're doing the recording, and I'm sure some of you might be recording some video, and we'll use a lot of it, especially with this next section. Okay, so let's do. We have two different labs.
Sorry,
One.
can I just stop you?
Absolutely.
So when you're splitting up teams, normally I split it by odds and evens, but I see other people splitting up teams by different ways. I'm not sure what the preferred method is.
When you say splitting up teams, what do you mean?
Sorry, splitting up your squad.
Okay, well, we're going to go through an example of splitting up your squad. Now, you can do it in different ways, but we have certain plays, like 3-man and stuff like that, where we do that. But I'm going to give you an example of one of the plays that we have that I have not taught yet for Rage Quit. You'll see that tonight, the splitting thing. I call it, it's known as fire teams, and it's also split squad. It's known as also split squad or 50-50, and we'll get to that. So you'll see that.
Two more quick questions.
Yep.
How much time do you spend as a squad lead playing versus planning?
User joined your channel.
Good question. It's a very, very difficult position. Everybody has their own style of play. Sometimes I'll sit in a Sunday and have my squad go to cap a certain objective depending on the scenario, and there are times I have to get out and actually be the guy leading during some more difficult fights where they need me there with them. You have to make judgment calls. Squad lead does require a lot of thought, and you are looking at the mini-map a lot, but you're not an operations lead. Operations lead typically has to look at the map a lot, and they don't get to play as much, but a squad lead is right in the mix of it. It's just that you have to kind of decide how much you can actually do, because you got to collect your thoughts, and you got to collect your tactical thoughts, and you got to, look at the battle and stuff. Sometimes you have to sit and go, okay, let me think about this for a little bit. You guys go up and cap that point. Maybe you're the one guarding the Sunday, for instance. In certain scenarios, that gives you a little bit of time to kind of think about the map, look at the scenario. So you can be the one maybe filling in the role of guarding Sunday, or being that guy that's kind of helping guard the wall, but not right on the forefront. There are times where you want to be, in charge of kind of where the squad taking a point. So you max up. That does limit your ability to put a spawn beacon down, but if you're going to be out front leading your squad, great. Max up and say, everybody behind me, we're going in guns a-blazing. I do that often. So you really have to think about what you're doing, and it's a situational thing. That's why squad lead is so hard, because everything in this game for a squad lead is situation to situation to situation, and it changes and adjusts every single time you're moving troops from one point to another.
Digitals.
Yep.
When you split your squad up, do you assign a fire team leader for the team that you're not with?
Yes, I'll get into that with the lab.
Thank you.
Did you cover spawn beacon terminology?
I did not. That's
Okay.
That's,
Well,
that's
it's really
a good point.
yeah, it's
maybe
really
we can
good.
offline. We'll talk about the spawn beacon stuff and adding that as content to the class. I didn't think about it. Good point. That
Well,
needs to be in this class at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's really quick. Basically, when you activate your spawn beacon, say spawn beacon up. Don't say down. A lot of people say down because they're putting the beacon on the ground, but it's very misleading because then the enemy comes around and shoots it and it goes down. And then people say spawn beacon down. Say spawn beacon up, or you're welcome to say spawn beacon active. And then when it goes down, you say spawn beacon down. Just to keep those really clear.
Yeah, and personally, probably one of the reasons why I overlooked it is because I absolutely despise spawn beacons. I think every good squad lead should have at least 1 or 2 Sundays and always have a spawn point with a Sunday. But that spawn beacon does help. I just think that people rely on it too much, but that's methodology. Some squad leads like to rely on it completely. I don't. So, but we should have that content in this class.
Digitals?
Yep.
The charter says about level 1 spawn beacon and AMS Sunday. It's a requirement, right? Does that hold with your class? Or
that's a rage quit requirement. So
okay.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions about the lecture? Okay, let's do something practical and have a little bit of fun. All right, let me see what I'm going to cover first. We have 2 different sections of this. One of the labs, we actually just all look at the map and talk things. I don't want to do that now to keep your interest. We'll do that at the end. I want to actually I want to teach you guys. Let's get right into the 50-50, the flanking or the fire teams, since people are asking about it. So here's what I want to do. I want everyone to go outside and meet me and your other squad lead somewhere outside. Okay, what do we got for our squads here? We've got, oh good, 2 full squads. Okay, this is what we do, okay? 1 through 6 in every squad, get in a line. 7 through 12 in another squad, on each squad, get in another line. Find your number 1 through 6, 6 through 12, just line up. Whatever semblance of line you want to make. Okay? This is 50-50 fire team, or what you will learn is typically called fire teams. Okay, so this is a tool that you guys can use that you can teach your people. Not everyone's going to know this. This is the first time teaching it. This is called fire teams. Now, 1 through 6 is always the right side. 7 through 12 is always the left. 7 is point. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that your squad's balanced. Remember, balance. So, typically in a scenario of fire teams, you want to make sure that your squad is balanced. But let's go ahead and I want you guys, I want number 1 in each squad to move up to the door. And I want their fire team to follow them. Okay, so we're the right fire team, so we're always going to be on the right, but I want you guys to kind of separate here. Okay? Okay, so fire team for Alpha Squad, your point man is Ninja. Ninja, are you here? Where
yes,
are you?
I am.
Where are you?
I'm over here.
Where are you? Okay, alright, so Ninja, you're going to be team lead, and 6 through 12 are going to follow you, and you're always going to be on the left of me wherever we move. So, Bravo Squad, just stay there. Okay, so Ninja, get to my left and take your fire team over to the left, like over to that building. That's how far away you want your fire teams to be. Okay, so everybody in fire team. All right, so now what the idea behind this is we're always flanking for each other, but we're always moving in the same objective. Okay, so Ninja, I'm just going to put a squad waypoint. Okay, we're going to move to and clear, say this building. Squad waypoint set. Okay, now you're always going to be we're always on the right, so. In this instance, let's switch spots, okay? We're going to be over here where you are, and you guys go over there. You guys are always on the left. So you guys go over to the left side, your fire team goes with you. And that's basically how we roll. So we're all just rolling together, and it's not that complicated, guys. We're just split up into 2 teams of 6, so we're not always one single target and whatever, so let's move, okay? So we'll move together. We move together. So come on up and just act like we're going up to, like, squad waypoint. We're going to clear the left building, okay? So we're moving like this. And our squad, our fire teams are split. Now, let's just stop here. Okay, we're not breaching yet. Just stop here, Ninja, right? Okay, so now that you're on the left, what you want us to do is we always want to be on your right, too, so we get up here. Okay? Now, when we go in, we are going to go in together. We're not going to cover breaching just yet, but we're going to go in together, and we're going to be on the right, and you're going to take the left. So typically what you would do is you're just going to go left down the hallway. So go in. Your fire team goes left. So go to the left steps. We clear the right side, okay? And then let's go upstairs. Okay, you're going to take the left side of the upstairs. We're going to take the right. Now, do you guys see the tactical advantage of this, where we're not just one squad moving in one direction, attacking from one direction? This is why we do fire teams. So when we're moving across the map, Now, Bravo Squad, I'm going to have you guys practice that as well in just a second. But so as we're moving across the map in any situation, you just remember your team is on the left, we're always on the right, and we're flanking for each other. Sometimes we enter buildings with different doors, that type of thing. Does anyone in Alpha not understand this concept? Okay, Bravo team. I'll walk you through it as well, unless you guys really kind of understand. It's not that hard to do. So you guys can start where we started, go back to where we were, get in your fire teams. One's always left, one's always right. 1 through 6 is always right, 7 through 12 is always left, and you guys just move as a teams of 6. But you move together to the same objective, and you always take left and right sides of buildings. Alright, so Bravo Squad, go take the same point. You're going to go from where we started, and you're going to go and take the second floor like we did. So get on the left and right. Bravo Squad should be where I am now, over here. Bravo Squad's always on the right. You guys aren't clumped up. That's the whole idea, is not to clump up. And then 7 through 12 in Bravo Squad over here, this side. Okay, you're a fire team. So your lead is 7 in your squad, and your guys' lead over here is 1. It's Ducat, right? So now go, guys. You move together, and then when you get to that door, left team stops so that right team can get on the right because you're switching directions. And that's the concept of fire teams. So let Ducat get across and get on the right. You know, you guys move together. Okay, and then Ducat, when you breach, you just go in and you go to the right and go up the steps. And then the other team, the other fire team, the left fire team, goes in, goes left, goes up the steps, and you guys meet in the middle. That's it. That's about as easy as it is. But you guys would, when you're in a battle scenario and you try to use this, you'll see exactly how effective it is. It's very effective, especially against a single squad. You hit them from both sides, and you guys are working organized. Does anybody have any questions about 50-50 or not quite understand that? That's actually, let's call that fire teams.
How would you say you're running multiple squads but you're in the same channel? How do you address another different team's fire team?
Okay, you don't. When you're in a squad, you're just a fire team as a squad. Your squad lead handles all of that. You're not doing fire teams with like separate squads. That's why when we did this example, Alpha did it first, Bravo did it second. Because you guys are just a squad doing it. That's it. It's just 2 fire teams in a squad. That is that's called fire teams. All right, get that concept? That's one thing you can do with your squad. You can coach them on it. You can even give them a little training. They'll like that. And then do that one night. If you're infantry one night, always have a left and a right fire team. And make sure they're balanced and they're moving together like that. And I'm sure the guys in spandex can pick up on that really, really quick. They might even be able to use that someday. So that's one thing we're going to teach in this class. Okay, let's move on to the next. Oh, let's do another one that we don't teach here that is really effective. This is called the line push. This can be done with multiple squads, and even and this is going to be part of the operations lead class. Let's all go outside. Just follow me. Okay, Ducat. You see that alley at the end that just went down? Go to the very end of the alley, please. Just you. Everybody line up. I want you guys to pretend like there is a hill between us and Ducat, and we're on the other side of the hill. I don't want you to shoot Ducat, by the way, please. Ducat, you can look at us now. I don't want you to shoot Ducat, by the way, please. Pretend there's a hill right where I'm at, right here, okay? So we don't see Ducat right now, but we're going to come over this hill. This is called a line push, and the ops lead can use this for all squads that are in the field. Everybody aim down their scope towards Ducat. Everybody aim down their scope. Batteries. Walk forward and shoot until they reach the top. Don't shoot Ducat, please. Okay, stop. Okay, one thing to mention about that, Ducat, did you see the effectiveness of that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, one thing to mention. Medics are always in the back. Engineers drop ammo when you can, even though we're moving. You know, when there's a stop, because there can be pauses in the line push, like he'll just say halt, drop your ammo. But medics are always in the back in that scenario, okay? Medics always in the back in the line push. That's the only other thing, because you're picking people up as they die.
Require more batteries.
But that fire right there, you'll see, I have that is proven to work on the battlefield. If we really want to push a point, we just line push to it. It's almost unstoppable depending on the enemy forces and assets. All right? Does everyone understand that concept? Do you want to practice it one more time, or are we good?
Good.
Okay, that's one thing you can have your squad do. So there's another tool as a squad lead to get your squad to do. You have to teach them how to do this, though, if they haven't been to this class and we haven't taught it yet. That is a line push. It's very, very effective. I wanted Ducat to see it so we can understand that, because, you know, He's one of the leaders too. But you guys get it. Okay.
When you reload, you stop walking, right? And like
Don't have
reload
to.
and let other people, or do you keep walking?
Typically, you just keep walking. Like you're just a wall of fire, and everyone's reloading at different intervals. The amount of fire that you have generated, it's almost unstoppable depending on the scenario. Now, if there's tanks we're going against, maybe we shouldn't be doing a line push until the tank assets are out. But if you're pushing a building and you're at a stalemate and you really just want to get it done, you line push into that thing and you take over the vehicle bay or whatever. You just line push, and that's it. You just all walk forward. The key is be looking down your scope so you're getting good shots off. You don't have to be just constantly shooting. Do your burst firing. If you got a shotgun with a slug ammo, just fire once, that type of thing. It's smart fire, but you're all pushing forward and you're all walking. You're not running, and the medics are in back picking you up. If you get picked up, run to the line again, start shooting and walking, aim down your scope. Any other questions? Okay, so that's tool number 2 you can use.
Quick question.
Yep.
If I was against that, the first instinct would be to throw grenades. So against grenades, the line's probably, your instinct is to scatter. Do you keep pushing, or do you sort of push away?
Okay, hold on. I actually lost connection. Stand by. Every once in a while I timed out. Hold on, let me make sure our game's set. Okay, I'm good. Ask your question again. Say something about a grenade.
If deploys grenades and you're there in the line, your instinct is to scatter to hold the line.
Common sense. If you get a grenade at your feet, sprint forward a little bit like this, and then stop, and then just kind of shoot and wait for the line to catch up with you. I mean, obviously you're not set to die like that. Okay, if you see a tank round coming or whatever, but the matter is, if you see a grenade at your feet, go around it, run away from it, and then get back in the line and continue shooting. Right? We're not just like toy soldiers walking forward here. I mean, you can save yourself a death and save a medic from having to pick you up. That's a good question, a very, very good question. But yes, you are allowed to use common sense in that scenario and just move out of the way of the grenade and take less damage. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to move on to another one. Hold on. Okay, another thing as a squad lead that I do, that I've been teaching, that is another aspect of what you can do as a squad, is set up what we call triage. Okay, so let's go into the building and go up to the second floor. Triage is a safe place for people to come for engineers and heals. And it's usually a place that's well guarded so the medics can stay alive and the engineers can watch the windows and doors. It's a very, very simple concept you can use with your squad. Say that this point that we're all in right now was Alpha, a cap that we want to hold, and we're holding this building and there's a bunch of enemies outside. And we have our maxes and we're guarding the second floor, but we want to push downstairs. I tell my squad, right here is our triage point. Medics, make sure everyone's healed. You stay up here. Engineers, a couple of you, I need to stay up here and watch the doors and drop ammo. So the rest of us, we're going to go downstairs and we're going to fight. So we go downstairs and we fight. Boom, boom, boom. We get hurt. We make sure we don't die. Say I'm in a max and I'm hurt and I need ammo and whatever. I'll come running back up to the triage point. The triage point basically is our base of operations, which is another thing we cover. But the triage point for this little scenario is basically a base of operations that you have your squad rally back to when the fight gets a little hairy and dicey and people need kills and ammo. That way you don't have your engineers and medics running all around willy-nilly and getting killed now and again. At least you know where they're at, that you need to defend them when you push, and that this is kind of the area where it's somewhat safe, or should be safer than the rest of the battle. That's a very simple concept. I don't think I can teach it any other way than letting you know that that is a concept of triage point. That's where you have like a base of operations for your battles from like a building like this or behind a rock somewhere. Triage point. You guys understand the concept of a triage point?
Yes.
Very good tool to use when in certain scenarios, especially during battles and things. Hey guys, we need a triage point right here, okay? And if you train them, they know what the triage is. The medics need to know to stay here, and the engineers need to know to kind of hover around here and guard the medics and drop ammo and keep the triage point safe. And all the maxes and heavies and all that, they go do their business. Now, the thing about triage point is you don't want your guys that are away from triage point to go too far away from the fight or the battle, because if we have to push and res that person, you can call like a little push from the triage point. Everybody back to triage. Boom, you get back to triage. Now everybody down to get the reses done. So you go down, you clear the room, get all the reses done, then you get back to triage, and then you send your forward guys like your heavies and maxes down forward again. So you can use that in multiple different ways depending on the given scenario of the battle. But the idea is to have sort of a central retreat point, so to say, or a safe place during a fight. Any other questions about it?
Yes. Let's say I wanted to put like these two buildings were part of a base, and I knew there was some enemies in there.
Yeah.
Should I send like my heavier assault units and basically my assault units and maxes to take them out, while the NGs and medics stay here at the triage point?
Well, good point. See, the thing is, as squad lead, you need to come up with the best possible scenario you can to make sure that you keep this area. Obviously, you're asking me in regards to trying to keep this area and keep the squad here and based here, but you're asking me how to clear that out. So you have to use your head in regards to those scenarios. Sometimes it takes the whole squad. Sometimes you can say, hey, let's send a 3-man team out, because you keep a medic and NG and max up here for defense, but you send a 3-man over there. See how maybe you have a spawn beacon or a Sunday where they can get back if they die or something. Maybe not, but you have to make the determination as to what's going to work or what you want to try. You don't have to go full force in there and get wiped, though. You don't have to do that. You could send an infiltrator to scout it real quick, and then send a team that should be able to take them out. Or you could send, a couple of maxes down there, or you could send a 3-man. So the options are yours, and part of this class is to try to teach you to actually think about the best possible options for the whole battle in itself. And that's the question you'll be asking yourself. Am I going to risk my whole squad and risk losing this point, or can I do this better? Can I send a few people out there? And that's what we were touching base on when we were talking about split tasking people and single tasking people. Yes, you can do that. You can do what you said, but are there other options as well, like maybe a 3-man team to go in there, or a scout first, or a light assault with some C4 to blow up whatever, whatever you have available. That's the challenge of a squad lead, is to figure that stuff out and get it done.
And the last thing is, if I did wind up sending part of my squad, should I assign a fire team leader to that part of the squad too?
That's another thing you could do, is you could send a fire team in there. I'm not sure I'm understanding the question, but you can split up into fire teams and keep a fire team here and have a fire team go there. Sure. Does that answer your question, or what was your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay, yeah, you have those options. That's why I'm showing you these things. You can do a line push, you can do a 3-man, all these options that you know and learn as you go, you can definitely use in these scenarios. But the general idea is start thinking about making sure that you can continue the battle and continue your forces here. At the end of the day, you want to take this point. So you don't want to give you want some give and take, but you don't want to give too much and lose the point. Okay, moving on. Let's see what else we have listed here. Hold on. We've done holding taps. This is something we can talk about. There's a tool that you squad lead can use that you need to also train everybody else on understanding what it means. It's called holding taps. For those that are not familiar with it, tapping is when you die and you don't get a res. We call that tapping. You tap out when you need to respawn, right? There are times when you want to tell your squad to hold taps. A lot of the situations involve you guys getting wiped or something going very bad, and you really having maybe not a spawn point or whatever. You can tell your squad to hold taps. Not everyone understands this, again, so you have to coach people and train them on what that means, but holding taps means do not respawn, stay dead. That gives you the chance and the time as a squad lead to get everybody tapping in or reviving or respawning at a specific location. So that's just a brief thing that you need to understand, that you have as a tool, is to tell people hold your taps, which means don't respawn, which you can also say don't respawn, but what we're trying to do is get everyone on the same page as far as terminology and thought. Most people in most outfits call it holding tabs. Does anyone have any questions about holding tabs?
Is that tabs with a B or taps with a
Tabs.
T?
Tango, Alpha, Papa, Sierra. Tabs. Tango, Alpha, Papa, Sierra.
With tabs and not getting residents, how long should we wait on average before having people tap?
Well, there's another tool that some people use, and some squads say never respawn unless you're told to.
Because I know what I used to do is I just said wait 30 seconds if you don't get fed, then just respawn.
That is another tool that you can have. See, that's up to you as a squad lead how you want to manage your assets, right? That's what this class is about. So you can give them pre-orders, like, hey, wait 30 seconds, if not, respawn. Or, hey, if you die, don't revive, wait. Some people do that, and I do that sometimes if the squad is getting way out of hand and they're not listening very well during a really big fight, and I want to start getting them together and moving. I will say, everybody do not respawn when you die. Hold your taps and wait. Once everybody's dead, then I say spawn at the Sunday. That gets everybody right there, together, ready to move out. And then you get a little bit more serious with them, like say, hey, we need to stick together. This is why we did this. Let's get it, let's get it together, guys. Let's get our kits balanced and let's try this again. Let's go. That sort of thing. So holding taps, telling people to hold their revives for 30 seconds. Those are all tools that you have to better manage your assets and your people. Are there any other questions? Okay, we've covered holding taps, we've covered triage, we've covered the line push, we've covered flanking, 50-50, or what we call fire teams. I think I'm just going to call it fire teams. Now, I want to talk about base of operations, or rally points, which is much like triage. But the concept is, as a squad lead, it's really important that you have your spawn points. And this all goes back to what we were talking about in regards to tactical advantage, trees, terrain, high ground, and all that. You need to have a good spawn point. So I'd like to brief everyone on what typically people tend to do, which is one other pet peeve of mine, is they tend to take their Sunday and like to cram it right into the enemy spawn point as close as they can fucking get to the battle. It's the stupidest, most dumbest, idiotic, retarded thing I've ever seen anyone constantly do in this game. It is okay for your Sunday to be 300 meters away from the fight. It's really okay. It's even better because that Sunday is less apt to be blown up by somebody that just spawns from a spawn tube with a light assault and C4 that flies about 15 seconds, drops C4, boom, your Sunday's gone. Then what are you going to do? You just shot yourself in the foot, limited your options as a viable, squad lead. So we're going to go through some labs on the map, using the map that is going to cover base of operations. Basically, a base of operations basically means it's kind of a rally point for you guys. Now, a base of operations can be a base that's close by that you can all rally at if you don't have a Sunder, or it can be a Sunder that you parked at a really good spot that's not going to get blown up, most likely, or it's going to take a bit for them to blow it up where you guys can all rally at. But base of operations is just terminology I want you folks to understand that you use as a squad lead. Like, we're going to set up a base of operations here at squad waypoint. When we get that set up, we're then going to attack a building. We're going to go attack this other building. We're going to get behind this rock, and then we're going to go behind this tree, and then we're going to cap alpha. That base of operations is basically what allows you to do things at your objective. You can have multiple bases of operations if you pull 2 Sundays and just have one primary and one backup. You can have people defending them. But I want you all to understand the terminology and concept of base of operations. It's either a base that you guys can rally at, or your Sunderer, where you set up shop, where you guys are now either suppressing, advancing, attacking, or even tactically retreating from a point, but it's done from your base of operations. Does anyone have any questions on that particular concept? We will cover that in the lab.
Digitals, this is Chess Player Alpha 2, and I have to go for now.
Okay, Chess Player, please attend the class in the future for the final lab piece. We're going to do the tech plant gal drop next, and then we're going to do our final lab piece to wrap the class up.
Alright.
I'm sure some of you are already familiar with the tech plant gal drop. But if I could, please, those type in outfit chat that can pull a gal, pull 3 or 4 of them, and we want to demonstrate the tech plant gal drop. Okay, those 2. 2 of them's fine. Namacron and Joseph, go ahead and pull gals and get them back to us. Thank you very much. 2 gals are great.
Digitals?
Yep.
Wait, is it called threading the needle?
I have called it. I have called it threading the needle.
Yeah.
That's just my description. Yes, it is. I just want to show everyone in this class one other tool that you can use as squad leads to get your squad to a tech plant cap point. Not everyone knows this, but a lot of you do. So you can also provide the best examples. But let's get in these gals and let's do a tech plant gal drop on Mount Tech Plant. I think we still own it.
When you're doing the thread the needle, make sure the gals do not get close to each other.
No, yeah, and they don't land. Gals don't land. They fly right through it. They fly right through it. Now, for those that don't know, okay, stand by. I got to tell them quick. What the gal is going to do is they're going to fly through the middle deck of the tech plant. When they get right to the middle of that point, you drop out and land right in the middle deck of the tech plant. Then you stop, and then we'll all get together and we'll show you the path that you take. There's a couple of mosquitoes. Don't worry about them.
Joseph Force Cow, get ready to drop.
Oh, bump my axle button.
2,
Son of a bitch.
1, drop. Oh.
Okay, don't call the drop. Just let people drop on their own, because sometimes gal pilots tend to call the drop too early. Okay. Are we all set? Okay, so if you guys will notice, stop shooting please. If you all will notice the lifts over there, you don't go there. You come down to the other end where the lifts aren't. So where Sir Guy's jumping right now, and where Codicius is at, that's where you guys want to get, either one side or the other. You all group up and wait for everybody. You get over here where I'm at, or over on the other side. You group up, wait for everyone to get here. Once everyone's here, you drop down on this side on the awning over here. Drop on the awning, and then you drop down here, and then you move into the tech plant back door right here, and you stay up high. All stay up high. You spread out. Engineers drop ammo. Medics stay to the back. A few people watch the back doors in case somebody flanks us. And what you do if there's enemies down there is you nade out, and you send 1 or 2 guys to go cap the point and run back here. And this is how you hold and take a tech plant with that particular move, if possible. Does anybody have any questions?
Textbook.
Okay.
Cut and dry.
All right.
Oh yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
Could you also send units to stay in there and set this up as a triage point?
Yes, this is basically a triage point. This is basically a triage point for that particular move. That's a very good point. The terminology I didn't use, but this is our triage point. But what you want to do is you want to set up triage points on the left and right side. And in this particular case, you definitely want people watching the back door because a lot of people know about this, and if they see us up here, they're going to try to sneak in with a light assault, throw some C4, and wipe us out or whatever. And light assault will come up here. And another thing that happens is they do the same thing to us. The enemy in resecuring will do the same move. You got to be ready for that, so you have to have eyes on the back door, disciplined eyes that aren't going to always just come back up here and shoot on A. And basically, you fight from right here at the tech plant to take it.
Do you keep the medics in the back safe so they?
The medics keep them behind. There's like 2 crates here. The medics. I'm not telling people how to play their kit because I'm assuming somebody that plays a medic knows how to play, or they'll learn. But, here's a good hiding spot right here, and the medic's hiding here, and have the medics watch the back door. So as a squad lead, you just make sure the back door's watched, and you have enough guns downrange on A so that they don't get it back. Now, if they go to cap it back, sometimes you actually have to send a fire team down there to recap A, or push people off of A. But the fact of the matter is, you just want your spawn beacon on the outside, and you want to keep most of your forces up here, and just send what you need to get A, so that everyone else can provide cover fire and all that stuff. Any other questions?
How much is left in this class right now?
Not much at all. We're just going to do a lab based on the map. We can all go back to the warp gate. Hold on, wait before you do that.
Do you want us to come pick you up?
Yeah, fine. We can recall it. Whatever. We'll just get back to warp gate now. At this point, we've done all the labs except for lab 1, A, B, C, and D. We have 4 more things to cover, and this is map conversation, and this takes up the rest of the class. And this is just, I'll explain it when we get there, but I'm going to go back to warp gate. You guys can be wherever you want as long as you're not fighting within the class.
Wolfen, I'm going to go. I'll attend the last few parts of class.
That's fine.
Wait a whale. That was awesome.
That was.
Okay, so at this point, guys, we don't necessarily need to be together, but we do need to be in squads. Together for this exercise. Okay, so basically what we do for the last part of this class, it actually can take some time, so I'm going to kind of make it very brief, and I'm going to do less examples, but this part of the class, what we do is we actually give people squad lead, and I give them a scenario and have them walk through what they would do utilizing the waypoint. They talk about what they're going to do, and in front of everyone while we're all watching our map, I then critique what they did and try to open everyone's mind as to how to think about things as a squad lead. So I use a certain few examples to do this.
Everybody who's wondering what to do, just go to the warp gate and wait.
Just go to Amerish.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, Amerish, okay.
Amerish. Okay.
Yep, just go to Amerish. Amerish is where I do most of our examples of training. And what I want everyone to do is, once they get to Amerish, go ahead and zoom in on Split Peak Pass, which is east of the map, in the center. I'll give everyone a minute. In fact, why don't everyone just go get another glass of water, piss if you have to. I gotta pee. I'll be right back, and we will talk about Split Peak Pass. And I will cut the lab for this in half so that we can actually get to this alert and have some fun and end the class in a reasonable amount of time. But I'm gonna do about 3 of these labs, and I'll cover them with you. Be right back.
Piss break. Let's go.
Alright, so is everyone... Okay, we're just going to start. So, you all on an emerge, right? And you're looking at Split Peak Pass and you're zoomed into it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That you.
Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a few of these to keep the rest of the class brief. I'm actually going to do them instead of having another person do them, and then correcting or, providing some critique. But what I would normally do is I would give somebody squad lead, and I would give them a fictitious scenario, and I would want them to walk both myself and the class through using the waypoint as in regards to how they would think about taking or completing that objective, given multiple different scenarios that involve scenarios that would involve armor or setting up a Sunday, like we were talking base of operations, or how to do a gal drop, or how they would walk their squad through from building to building to building using terrain and the best point. Or have them explain where the best point to put a Sunday would be for a particular base. And we would cover a lot of that, and it would open a lot of people's eyes. So, and I would encourage you all to attend a future class where we have this all on video, or another class where this particular exercise is actually something you can take part in, but time-wise, I do not want this class going more than 2 hours. So I'm just going to cut it short. We're all going to look at Split Peak Pass. The fictitious scenario is that your operations lead has told you, your squad's at the warp gate, and your operations told you to take Split Peak Pass as a single squad. So if you're all zoomed into Split Peak Pass, I want to emphasize the fact that this class was all about terrain advantage and thinking about targets. Another thing that you have to do as a squad lead is start to learn all these bases and their strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so I'm going to put a platoon waypoint on the half shell at Split Peak Pass. Knowing this base myself, I know that there's a generator there that controls the generators that drop the shields for the east and west entrances for vehicles to get in. Knowing this base also, I know that it's going to be moved to one of the cap points. I think that's Bravo. Platoon waypoint is also going to be moved to another point, which I believe is Charlie. And platoon waypoint now is going to be moved to Alpha. Now, what I would tell what I would tell my squad is what we want to do is we want a gal drop right here, and we want to take the gen down. Tactically, that's the best way to do it, because on the other side of the base, there's a lot of there's the spawn, and lots of enemies come from south to north. The best way to attack this base, tactically, is north to south. I may send my infiltrator off to a vehicle, to hack a vehicle and hack a Sunday, but that really, in this particular base, really usually does you no good, because this is such a damn hard base to take with vehicles at all. So I would definitely have a spot up.
If I may add something, right north of that thing, right north of the platoon waypoint, if you do like taking it from north to south, there is a little goat path that goes up the mountains. You can get a Sunday placed right up there, and you can assault the base going north to south.
Yeah, getting the Sunday up there though from hacking a terminal at that base, I'm not sure if that's efficient or possible, given the fact that I'm kind of pretending like this is a contested base with maybe a squad defending. But good point, and good thing to mention. It's something that we should have to research further to see if it's actually possible and viable and works in the battlefield. But very good point. Thanks for adding that. But the general idea is to attack north to south. So what I would do is basically have the gen taken there. Then I would have one person, split off and go take Bravo and Charlie and get the rest of the squad moved to Alpha. Now, one of the things about the battle flow of this base typically is most of the forces that are going to come contest are going to go to Alpha, and they're going to come from the spawn, and the only place they can really do it, unless they're light assault, is crossing the bridge. So I would get half the squad at least as a fire team, holding the bridge and holding Alpha, while the other half of the fire team would still hold Alpha, but they would swing between Bravo and Charlie, which is a very difficult point to recap as the enemy. And that's how I would go about taking the space, is a north to south attack. I've heard examples of people trying to roll Sundays up to the towers. I mean, guys are towers with turrets, and this is a very difficult base to take. Unless you're attacking north to south, it's almost impossible if it's defended well. So that's one scenario that I go over, and I have somebody actually talk through it, and then I explain kind of, how this base works and operates. And the whole idea, guys, is to get you to start thinking about every single building, all the terrain, advantages and disadvantages of it, and actually moving your squad accordingly. Because in the past, people would say, okay, well, let's park a Sunday here at Platoon Waypoint. Well, that Sunday gets blown up quick, and you got to move your troops uphill and then up to the cap and then up to the gen, and by then it's usually just a mess and it's very bad. So utilizing your assets as a squad lead, doing a gal drop and getting it done there, that's better than trying to drive a Sunday into Split Peak Pass. Believe me, I've seen it fail over and over and over again. I'm sure you've been there too. Okay, so another thing that I go as an example, let me see one of the other good examples I use, of course. Okay, yeah, that comes to, the middle of the map. I want you guys to look at the Ascent and Raven's Landing. Okay, I'm going to just briefly cover this with you folks. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but the Ascent and Raven's Landing are on high ground, and if you look at the roads, they just connect to each other. They don't really connect anywhere. Now, it is possible to get vehicles up there from a certain few points. You can actually drive a vehicle up there. I believe in the southeast part there's a bridge, but there's also like a little go path. You can get a Sunday up there and stuff like that. You can do that. But when I've asked other people in the past how you would do it, and I also give them the example of, okay, you're at the Bastion, and I need you to take the Ascent or Raven's Landing. They're starting to talk about driving Sundays up there and, whatever. Well, in that scenario, you thinking as a squad lead, it's most likely you need to do a gal drop and get maybe even 2 infiltrators at that point to at least hack a Sunday up there and get that Sunday pulled up there, and then get that Sunday moved, like, say, for instance, I'll put Platoon Waypoint, get that Sunday hidden somewhere where, away from the tower guns or wherever, somewhere up there you can find a spot for the Sunday that it can't get, completely destroyed, even if it has to be far away, even if it's down the road. Even if it's there, even if it's that far away and down the road, and you have mines on the road protecting it from other vehicles being pulled and brought towards it, that's fine too, because those are hard bases to take if they're contested as well, and you have to those. So that's another scenario. What is another one of my? Oh, okay. Let's do one of my favorite. Okay, so in the northwest of the map, you'll see Econom Biolab, which is currently ours. To the left of that and a little down is West Foothills Air Dock. I'd like you all to zoom into West Foothills Air Dock. This is a scenario that I use almost exclusively in regards to trying to get people to understand what a base of operations is all about and how to actually attack a base properly instead of zerging it. Now, we all know that the cap point, I believe, is somewhere around there. Squad waypoint, or platoon waypoint. It could be actually that building right there. One of those two, I think it's like right there or there, right? I think it's actually where platoon waypoint is. That's A, I think. Now, I usually give people the scenario that we just took Econom Biolab and we're going to West Foothills Air Dock, and I want you to walk me through, what you would do as a squad lead to take that particular base. And they tell me this and that and the other thing, and usually they don't really think of, the whole class content is based on knowing these maps and knowing terrain and stuff and high ground and things. So usually what I end up coaching them is to the fact that we need to get a Sunday set up at squad waypoint. You need to get a Sunday there, and you need to wait until you attack and get all your troops gathered there. That is a good defensible position. That is a good, what we call, or what we're teaching, a base of operations for your squad to take West Foothills Air Dock. I have also seen, when we have multiple Sundays, another Sunday parked somewhere around there, which is viable as well if it's a second Sunday and not the primary Sunday. But the idea about this fight, to be totally honest with you, is keeping that Sunday alive more than it is capping the point, especially if this is a contested base, because you're usually relying on support. Not just one squad can take this base if it's contested, typically, the way it's designed. But I want you also to be aware of the fact that at platoon waypoint, if you are at platoon waypoint, you are actually above the air pads, and you're attacking downhill from north to south. And by the way, the vehicle pad that can hack another Sunday that an infiltrator can easily get to is right here. And you can also set up your fire team or line of fire right here and guard the Sunday and still put pressure on the base. And then at some point, you can actually try to send someone into Cap A or move in as a squad to Cap A. But that's ultimately what I tend to tell people and coach them on taking things like West Foothills Air Dock. But the whole idea, guys, is to start thinking about where these towers are that have anti-tank guns on them, and you don't want to roll your tank guns there, or you don't really want to fight uphill, and you don't want to put your squad in a position where they're fighting uphill or fighting some type of impossible angle and trying to just zerg in a straight line to a waypoint. There's so much terrain you can use. There are high ground you can think about. There's so many things you can think about and so many crafty ways you can take a base, or at least give your squad the best possible tactical advantage to take that base. And your spawn point is your Sundays are really, really critical as a squad lead. Very, very critical. And, you know, it's okay to park them far away. It really is. It's just a few more seconds walk, but it makes your squad a little bit more survivable and a little bit more organized in a fight to do that. And I want to stop at the 2-hour mark. I'm getting tired, and this was the first class. I encourage you all to attend the second class, or a future class, and actually see these labs a little bit more in action. But I think that's long enough for anybody to be in a class for this game, and I'm just going to end with any questions you guys might have at this point.
Great class.
Very good.
Is there a wiki?
Yeah, that's where's the documentation?
You know what? Digital's a wiki might be an outstanding idea. Tell you what, I will talk with Kara Hilo about that. She's the media director, and we'll see if we can get something like that set up.
A video on the labs at the end, because we really didn't cover the labs at the end. It's a really great exercise that opens a lot of people's minds. I really want you all to do that, but the 2 hours is enough. It's enough.
It's feedback.
One practical lab. Let's give it a shot.
Just in general, in feedback, about an hour, there should be some kind of break just so the mind doesn't kind of wander.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and the class can be a little bit more streamlined, so it's not exactly 2 hours, like maybe an hour and a half. I can see this class becoming an hour and a half. We did get a little bit of a late start, and it was a little bit not totally put together, but this is the first time this class is actually run through. So we could definitely shorten the 2 hour time period as well and have a break in the middle. Absolutely.
As far as content, amazing. This is very, very, I've been squad leader a few times and playing PlanetSide since beta, alpha, and this is very, very good.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Digitals. Very good
I
class.
learned a lot, actually.
Good job.
Thank you.
It may have been long, but he got a lot.
Just a quick comment. I was in the military a long time ago, and this brought me way back, let me tell you.
I'm part of the military myself, I understand.
Oh yeah, you said head on a swivel, and I was like, oh my god, a drill sergeant.
What?
User left your channel.
Head on a swivel, meaning you're looking everywhere at every time.
No, yeah, that just made me think Digital's a drill sergeant.
User left your channel.
No, I wasn't a drill sergeant, but yeah, I've definitely had my time with them.
Personally, I'm kind of surprised that we hit that special point for the whatchamacallit, amp station, or the tech lab, but we didn't look at the amp station and the sneak.
User was moved out of your channel.
Oh yeah, there's some things in the class. That one other lab example was like how to hold the gen at an amp station, where you put half your squad on the wall where the tubes are, and half your squad down at the gen. I mean, that's why I want you guys to actually attend them. But I've got to stop at 2 hours. That's enough.
I was actually thinking quick cap alpha for the tech labs.
Or there's the one
Or
amp station in particular that some tactics will not work on, and that is not only because you have the little tunnels that run underneath the amp station walls.
Yeah.
That is the amp station gen take is one of the labs specifically. Yes, it's part of it. It's just something we'll cover over time. Any other questions?
Just one last piece of feedback.
Yes, you guys can shoot. Absolutely. I'm going to actually I'm going to take a 5 or 10 minute break, and then I'm going to go do some ops with those guys up there. But thanks for attending the class.